Today, we are diving into your reasons behind how you're eating. When you start asking yourself, why am I doing this? It can be quite enlightening and also very scary and hard. There's two ways of eating that we'll talk about today: not eating enough and eating too much. First, let's discuss not eating enough. Have you ever noticed that when you want something really bad, you make some pretty drastic changes? But these changes are never long lasting. They are for a short period of time because they are not easy. And you may see some results, but rarely do those results last. A few things I've seen like this are fasting, reduced healthy fat intake, skipping meals, reducing or removing carbs altogether, restricting foods, cleansing, suppressing appetite by pills or other stimulants, fasted cardio, or just an insane amount of cardio. If you've done any of these, take a minute, pause the podcast, and ask yourself why you did it. Was it because you didn't love what you saw in the mirror or a picture you saw of yourself? Maybe you had a moment where you had the feeling that you were so fed up with how you were feeling and how you were looking that something had to change. And then when you go and look for information, all that you can find is a quick fix, like I just mentioned. Any magazine you pick up or when you Google it, it just leads you to Sally Doe lost 20 pounds in 3 weeks. You can too by following this diet, right? Like those are catchy, right? It's marketing. I get it. Even when I'm standing in line at a grocery store and I look over and I can see on the cover of one of these magazines is a before and after of this woman who supposedly lost all this weight doing this specific diet, whatever it was. And yeah, people want to pick it up and be like, oh, that could be me too, right? We want to see ourselves. We want to know that we can do that too. Here's the thing. If you're hungry, eat. Hunger cues are our body's way to tell us that we need nourishment. Eating a substantial amount of healthy fats will keep your hormones happy, especially for females. Using coffee or other stimulants to suppress your hunger creates a hormone response that negates fat loss and muscle building. Skipping meals is just silly. This can cause irregular blood sugar levels, which in turn causing us to have insane cravings, and over a while can cause major problems. If you tend to skip meals due to being busy, maybe making a more realistic meal plan that suits your day. Carbs are your friend. Carbs all around help you with any goal that you may have. Carbs also help function your whole system and your brain function. Fad diets are just that, a fad. Restricting foods is silly for any other reason other than major intolerance or allergy. Restricting foods will only lead to binging and overeating after a certain amount of time. Fasted cardio is for the 60s. Leave it there. If you're not fueling your body properly, most likely your body won't be burning your fat storage as an energy source, but rather your muscles. If you're curious about fasting, listen to my previous podcast about fasting for more information on that. And all in all, this all sounds like you're depriving yourself. And to be honest, it doesn't sound like a nice way to live your life. It is true that if you are trying to lose weight, you do need to be in a deficit, meaning you need to eat a little bit less. But the biggest thing to think about and to always remember is if you have not been eating enough for a long duration, so if you've never been eating at a maintenance level or a surplus, if you are always in a constant deficit and then you go and try to eat a little bit less, it's going to do more harm than good. Okay, let's talk about eating too much. This comes with some caveats. There are two different things I mean by this. First, in general, you can eat healthy, nutritious foods and still be eating too much in whole, which will cause you to gain weight. Secondly, eating too much of the non-nutritious foods. If you feel that you're eating a lot of healthy, nutritious foods and you're gaining weight, maybe you need to scale back on the portion sizing. This one is pretty simple. More importantly, eating too much of the other foods, the non-nutritious foods, for example, donuts, fast food, muffin, chocolate bar, cookie, doesn't really offer us much nutritious value. Overeating can be driven by stress, previous habits, emotions, or just the need of wanting more. And sometimes we may not recognize just how much of these we're actually eating. If you're having a donut or two daily, that's probably going to add up over time. But each day you may think, oh, I've eaten quite well today. I can have that donut. Or maybe you were good all week, so you tell yourself that you deserve it after being good. Side note, food should never be used as a reward, period. That is a red flag for having a poor relationship with food. It is easy to go for food that makes us feel better in the moment when you're stressed out or upset. It will quickly fill that hole inside but even quicker, leaving you feeling like you either need to eat more to feel it again, or worse off, leave you feeling even more like shit. If you're struggling with overeating, the place to start is to be more present with yourself when you're eating these foods. Try asking yourself how you're feeling or why you're going to eat that. So I'm not sure where this came from. I've heard it from a few clients. I think I may have even said it to myself a few times, but you're eating these foods because you can. They were never in your household when you were younger, or you had to hide them before, whatever the case is. I think no matter which you fall under, whether you're eating too little or eating too much, I think it kind of boils down to a couple things. And I think the biggest thing is loving yourself. If you love yourself, you would be fueling your body and fueling your mind and everything inside, giving yourself the right nutrients, the right vitamins through all the whole foods that we have to make yourself feel good because you love yourself. You love feeling good. Who doesn't love to feel good? I know for me, it is very apparent when something is off. Before, when I was in my early 20s, I was drinking, I was maybe sleeping a couple hours a night, I was partying and eating crappy food, or not really eating dinner, pre-drinking, because that's the cool thing to do. Getting ready to go out, and then we go out drinking, dancing, and then after the night was done, we would go hit up A&W and get like a matzo burger and like sit in the parking lot and just think we were living life up. And I didn't realize at that time how crappy I felt because I didn't truly love myself. I was just doing all the things that my friends were doing and what I thought was cool, and I didn't stop and really get in tune with myself. And once I couldn't hide from myself, I couldn't hide from the dislike. That's really when things had to start changing. And the steps that I had to take to start loving myself was I had to start treating myself better. And how I needed to treat myself better was the stuff that I was putting in my body: alcohol, fast food, or just not eating in general. And when I started making these changes, it's not easy. These changes are not easy. It's easy to do it for a short amount of time. You do it for the first week, you're like, yeah, I nailed it. Then a weekend comes and you do the old school, same stuff. It's even harder when Monday comes that you have to get back on track, right? So when it starts to become a lifestyle rather than being on track, when you look at it as this is just the way my life is, this is the way I eat, then it becomes who you are. There are a few steps to take to start loving yourself. First, start treating yourself with love and respect by what you put in your body. Your body doesn't like feeling like shit after eating a box of donuts or cookies or drinking a bottle of wine. And it sure doesn't leave you mentally feeling amazing, I'm sure. Second, start finding things you love about yourself and writing them down. Start by making a list and adding to it daily so you can see it. And third, start doing things that make you proud of yourself. These are steps that will have you loving yourself while you're working towards that body that you feel amazing in. And lastly, this is important, own the foods you are consuming. Stop making excuses or chalk it up to you had a bad day, or you're stressed out, or you ate well all week, or whatever it is. You couldn't, whatever. You can find healthy food anywhere nowadays. You can't be upset with the results you're not getting if you're not putting in the effort or the work. Until next time.